A dominant discourse that is a challenge for clients is their own culture and beliefs on how life should go and at what standards they should be. When standards are not met to others' expectation, it can cause discourse to a client and their family. Social behavior is shaped by our environment and what we are told from a young age on how to behave and what is expected of us. This way of thinking will shape the way clients narrate their story. When the therapist meets the client, they meet the person away from the problem. They want to learn and understand the client before they start discussing the problem, which brought them in. They do not focus on the behavior with the client. They focus on the way they interpret and narrate their side of the story. Unlike most therapies, the focus is on a problem and how the family can change in order to correct the issue. With narrative therapy, the concern is separating the problem from the family, and together they can tackle the outside problem as one. The therapist wants the clients to stop thinking of what is expected within their culture and focus more on how they are in control of their own story, no matter what others think. Narrative therapists do not want to solve their clients' problems, but instead have them pull away from cultural assumptions, which can be very destructive. They want the client to stop viewing themselves in the problem-saturated stories they come to therapy with. By learning to separate themselves with the problem, they are able to see themselves in a more constructive view, which will allow them to create new solutions. For change to occur with narrative therapy, the therapist helps the client deconstruct stories that are considered unproductive. The therapist then helps them construct a more positive and beneficial story. The therapist will ask questions to the clients and how they are affected by the problem in different areas of their lives. The more they are able to externalize the problem, the less control it has over their lives. The concern in narrative therapy is not the cause of the client's problem, but instead the affect it has on them. In many families across the world, each individual has their own perspective of the family and everyone in it. When everyone has their different views and expectations of others, then discourse occurs. Assumptions are created and held onto until they can be externalized and discussed. Problem-saturated stories is where the problem plays the leading role and client plays a secondary role, generally that of the victim. When the client comes in with a problem-saturated story, they are keeping a hold of a certain way of thinking and responding to the problem, which will only maintain the problem story.